Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another episode of building the Tantive in Lego. And as you can see, we have the Tantive all lined up now. Unfortunately, the table hasn't been extended yet. It needs to be about another 9 inches longer. At the moment, this section just here is pushed back so it fits on, as the front here is right on the edge of the table, and we have the same problem with the back. Now, I recently did a video showing a room tour, or a change to the room, should I say, where I've rearranged the Lego tables and made some big changes to Gotham. And in that video, I did say I was considering changing up the Tantive build as well. And what I mean by that is, originally I was going to have removable panels on the side here, for example, but I'm considering just having it open like so. So on one side of the vessel, it's going to be all completed, all enclosed, as you'd expect to see it. But then when you step round to the other side, you can just peer inside and see what is actually happening on there. So it's just something I'm considering at the moment. If I can find a way of doing the removable panels and they've got plenty of strength in them and it's going to look good, then I will do so. But the reason that I'm considering not doing the removable panels is this is going to be an exhibition, and I don't see the point of just having the removable panels led on the table when people aren't really going to be looking at them. They're going to want to see inside, or they're going to want to see what it looks like without the removable panels, where it's quite simple. One side of the table, you see it complete, the other side, you don't. I did want to carry on working on the cockpit section. However, I need to order all the parts in for that, which I still haven't had a chance to do due to funds. But what I do want to do in this update is start working on this section once again. Now, the display stand is the newer style. So previously we did this meaty, really solid brick built one, which we have decided to change over to the new one, which is this one here. Now, this one here is this, but it's got the brick supports coming on, so these slopes on here. So I need to get some more slopes ordered in. So yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to work on the structural side of this and try and work out what's going to be going where, what corridors are going to be going where, and then that's going to give us a good idea of what parts we're going to need to add to that ever-increasing order. So without further ado, let's move this cockpit section out of the way, and then we'll have a look and see what we've got to do with that part there. Now, with this section here, we're going to have to do a fair bit of work of the preparation for the build on here. This part here is going to have a lot of weight on it. You've got turrets on both the top and the bottom. So we're going to need a lot of strength in this part just here. So that's one part I'm going to be concentrating on first of all. Now, I'm not going to have a corridor coming through here. There's some panels that come across at an angle. You've got curved parts on there. And I just don't think it's going to add anything to the build having a corridor built into it. It's just going to be a waste of bricks because you're never going to see it from this side. Now, on this part just here, we've got the escape pods. And again, I'm struggling to see how they fit in there. Going by the size of them, this is the playset version, which is slightly smaller than the one that I've built, only by a stud or two. But when you think you've got to have 4 of those in there, it's going to be quite the squeeze. So I just need to work out exactly how I go about doing that. Do I make this slightly bigger than it should be scale-wise? Won't be by much and hardly noticeable, but it might just make it a little bit easier for me. I think I'm going to have another look at the escape pods and possibly try and get down to this sort of size, just so that I know that I'm going to have that little bit more flexibility with the position of them on there. And another thing I need to do is get a lot of strength into this. Again, this is going to have a lot of weight on there. The other side, where we're not having all of the details, the removable panels, etc., that's not going to be so bad. That won't be as heavy. But this side here, I want to have a corridor in there if possible, and also want to have the escape pods as well. One of them may be jettisoned, I'm not sure. So I'm going to see how creative I can be with this side to show off as much detail as possible on the inside of it. So plenty of planning needed for this part of the build, but it's certainly going to be a fun one. So anyway, that's enough talking. Let's get the bricks and plates out, get the Technic parts out, and let's get started. And we have the blueprints out here, and this is the section that we're working on today. And I thought the best thing to do would be to measure it and then convert it into studs, which is what we've done just here. And I'm glad I've done so, as I think we need to make a few amendments to the framework that we have just here. Now, I have reinforced the display stands. I didn't think I had all the bricks, but I did. I managed to find the ones that I was missing. And again, I'm glad I did do it now, is I ended up taking part of this, or dismantling part of this, just so that I could integrate the slopes into the Technic bricks, and that's given it so much strength, and it's not that heavy either, so really happy with that display stand. Now, going by my first look at the measurements on the blueprints, I believe that the war room or strategy room is going to be on this part just here. Now, if that's the case, these two parts, or these two side bits here, they are a little bit too high. So I just need to double check the measurements of those, and then I can work out exactly where they need to go. And boy, this is certainly challenging, and we've had to make a fair few amendments to the structure here. And I've measured this so many times, and trying to calculate it as accurately as possible to make it as accurate to the blueprints is proving quite tough, but we are getting there slowly but surely. So after I built the display stand, reattached the whole framework to it, I realised the bottom section here was 4 studs too wide. I made it the same width as this part just here, whereas it actually needed to be the same width as that part down there. So that was the first thing that I changed over. The next was the side parts here. Now previously I had it so it was from here to here going all the way back. But due to the angle of the plate that goes over the top of it, I realised I could actually step this out even further and then go back, which means I've got more room for putting these escape pods, because these escape pods are set back a bit. So that's worked out really, really well. So that's all good now. And if I put an escape pod in here, as you can see, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, plenty of room around them to get all the details in there that we need. What I've also done is add some Technic beams at the bottom here. So there's 4 of them along there. And what that's going to enable me to do is have some beams coming up to help keep this up. I'll do the same on the top coming down, and that'll help pull it up. And that's going to give it all of the strength that I need in there. So it's all looking really positive now. Now, the other thing that I'm considering doing is one side at a time. So I'm going to get all the Technic framework all done. I'm then going to get all the support and strength in there, so I know it's got everything that it needs. And then I'm just going to work on doing all of the paneling on one side. And this is the side that you don't see inside of. I think that's going to give me a chance to get a better idea visually of what it's like, especially next to this part, because the other side I've been working on as well. It's going to help people see how the progress is coming on with the vessel. Then on the side where it's exposed, like we've got here with the removable panel, or where you can see into it, I'm not sure I can do the removable panel as mentioned earlier, I can then do it so you can actually see the mechanisms around the escape pod. So it might not just be you're seeing a corridor, but you're seeing how the escape pod is actually held in place and things like that. So it's just something I'm considering at the moment, but I just think it's going to take the mock to the next level. It's just going to give it that much more detail and make it that much more interesting. By doing that, it is going to give me a lot more work, but I think it'd be worth it just to make it look that much better. And there we have the upper layer all ready for the rooms to be built on here. And I'm going to do rooms the whole way along. So rather than just have the meeting room, I might have as you got layers, quarters, or whatever else might be up here. May use my own spin creative license to get that all finished off. But what I've also done is added considerably more of these beams here, which is keeping everything compressed together, and the same further down here. Now this has got so much strength in it. I can push down on that a lot and it hardly gives. This front section here I've amended again and made that a little bit narrower as it needed to be. But we've still got all the room we need in here for the escape pods. So it's really nice getting to this stage now of having this all built up nice and strong, and then we can start doing all of the finer details to it, put the skin on, start building the interior to it and so forth. Now this part just here, this is where the slope comes down. So it comes off an angle here, goes along, and then it comes like so, and then back towards that. And it's this part just here that I'm referring to. So we've got these really interesting shapes here that we're going to have to make as well. And you've got all of the greebling inside of it. So these are the parts I can now carry on working on, doing all of this paneling off, do the rooms in there. Hopefully I've got the pieces that I can crack on with that, and I won't have to place any orders to get the parts for it. So that would be really nice. Enable me to get a lot more done on the build. Now, as I mentioned before, it would be nice to have the escape pod so that in one section of it you can actually see inside. So whether or not I do it, the escape pod has already been jettisoned from here, the one that had R2 and 3PO in, I'm not sure. And what I would do is I wouldn't have the framework here, it will be cut away, and then you'll be able to see in there more, see the holder, or see the mechanism that would have held the escape pod all in place. But as I mentioned, that's just something that I'm considering at the moment. Now, due to the fact that this is 16 studs shorter now, I have a feeling that this will actually fit on the table. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to rearrange all of the pieces along here, clear all the bricks up, and then we'll have a look and see how it's all looking. And look at the size of that. And yeah, it's just blown away by how it's coming together. It is gigantic. And I'll have to stand the other side of the room just to fit it all in. I put the MIDI scale version and the playset version just down there, just to give you an idea of the sheer size of it. And we've even got a little minifigure up the top there as well, just to highlight the size. But it's going to look even bigger once we put all of the skin over the vessel. It's going to look a lot bigger, especially these side parts here where the escape pods go. Now, with the colours of this, there has been comments in the past about all the multicolour bricks. Do not worry, you will not see a single colour other than it's what it's supposed to be. All of these bricks and pieces will all be covered over once we've got the shell on there. So yeah, just a case of using whichever parts we needed to. But it's taken quite a while to get the technical side of it all how I needed it to be, but we got there eventually, and it was well worthwhile taking all the time to do so. My only concern at the moment is whether or not this bit here might be a little bit too wide, but I'm sure when I measured it, it was all okay. We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that it is. When I look down to the playset version just here, that part there is wider than the front bit, which is what I've measured it at. So yeah, it should be all okay. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building the Tantive in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for stopping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.